Hey, welcome into Dom Time. I'm sure most people have been following Riley Cooper, and the local media has gone crazy. We had on Sunday a look at Riley Cooper and the trouble he got into in high school. And he did seem to be a punk, let me say that, but I think a lot of these athletes are. But because of his racial comment, it's big news. Big news today of a sort. Paula Deen, the sexual harassment charges and the fact that the white woman who brought charges against her, Mark, has been thrown out on racial grounds, but that doesn't mean that Paula Deen didn't say what she said, etc. I despise her cooking and the rest of it, but Paula Deen, is the punishment fit the crime for what she did?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're on TV. You decide that you want to operate as so-called a model citizen, and then you're used behind closed doors. You have this venom in you, you know, against racists, and that's not cool. But at the same time, you represent that network. You know, with you getting that show and them financing that show, you represent that network. So the network made a stand, obviously, to say, hey, this is not what we're into, and this is the reason why we let her go. But that was their prerogative. Like, if they kept her, would anybody have fought? I'm not sure.
But is it too much, Natasha, in your view?
I just think that as a country backyard hillbilly, what do we expect from somebody like that? You know what I mean? I just think, this is my ignorance, I guess. Somebody like Pauline, I would not expect anything less from her.
Because of the South?
I think had she been from the North, we probably would have been appalled and shocked maybe, but
I think
she would have gotten away with it more. I don't think we like the Southern part.
I think that because she's from down South, that's the mindset. That's the culture from which she comes from. So I'm not shocked by that.
I don't know. I was partially raised down South, and I've never been called by any other nationality or person the N-word down South. Now up here, I've had folks say stuff out of windows. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not as comfortable, like, unless you've lived in the South before and been in that environment, I'm not as comfortable putting it on the South as being potentially okay.
Okay, well, what do you both think? I'll give you what I get callers saying. They say, look, this woman's wrong, and she comes on the Today Show and says, I is what I is. Oh my God, with Matt Lauer. And I mentioned the cooking and the whole thing, and then switching now, suddenly it's helpful. But they think it's too much. A lot of white people call me and say, come on, it's too much.
She was a little non-apologetic the way that she did it. I mean, she came in the first day and she stood the network up, you know, which means that, you know, in some cases, like when you really believe in how you feel, then you make sure that the world understands that immediately.
Well, I think with Don Imus, Don Imus called women, you know, the Rutgers basketball team. He got slapped on the wrist, and we've forgotten all about it. So I think it's just the times that we'll go through it with Paula Deen, with Riley Cooper, and people will forget and move on once again.
Now, Natasha, when you've been here with me, and I went back through something you've written too, in your writings in your most recent book, you talk about this idea of acting white and how that's seen as a sellout, et cetera. Now, what we talked about tonight, do you see rap music playing against that at all? Or is it something, I'm trying to get to the bottom of where that comes from.
Well, people need to understand, first of all, white America needs to understand we're not all the same. But by the same token, we do have a lot of black people in our community who think, you know, oh, Natasha, you act white or you speak white. So I get that as well. So I mean, people
actually verbalize it.
Yes,
I've asked students before,
time.
They actually use this stupid phrase, acting white.
Yes, big time. I mean,
I can't believe that. Mark, has that ever been said to you?
No.
No, I mean, it seems to be like a foreign phrase. Like, you're acting Italian, Dom, or something.
And I check folks when they say it, you know, oh, she acts white. And what does that mean? You know, because somebody knows how to conjugate a verb and a noun? Like, I don't get that.
I think all of this is a testament to where this country needs to catch up to when it comes to race issues and get out of denial.
Okay, but parting here, you say that, and I see the progress chart across the board. 20, 25 years ago, if you had told me interracial marriage, a president who's African American, look at the city of Philadelphia, I see the progress, and I see with young people, the progress is even more apparent.
Absolutely.
So, you know, this idea that we're in this middle of a racial malaise, I'm not buying it.
I just think people are getting caught. Like, we're in a place now where everyone's a journalist.
Right.
You know, you have all of these cell phones and everything else that people get caught behind closed doors that they typically wouldn't have gotten caught.
I think
like Riley could have done that same thing 100 times pre-cell phone camera era.
All right, takeaways from tonight. If you're a white guy, don't say the N-word.
If you're anybody,
all right, we're all in agreement on that. The board across the board, don't say that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to do with race. If you're anybody, you notice a word that hurts, cut it out.
I'm going to ask the mayor in my next column, is it going to be an in-free zone at this Made in America tour or not? We'll see. Hey, Mark, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having
me.
And
Natasha, as always, thank you for being back again with us. Coming up, my take on the news of the day and a special Dom Time Minute. Hey, this is Dom's tip of the night. If you have not become a fan yet of Breaking Bad, maybe you've never even seen Breaking Bad, the AMC breakout hit, there are only 7 weeks left now. Boy, what a sad end to that. Walter White has been billed, the hero of this, if you will, the anti-hero, as one of the great characters that we've seen over the last 20 years in TV. I'd say he's 1, 2, or 3 up there with Tony Soprano and maybe a couple of others. So my tip to you, Sunday nights, if you haven't seen Breaking Bad, AMC has it, and go back and do a little bit of binge viewing, get it on Netflix. You can find it out there. It's well worth the effort, and the reason is this. I've interviewed the guy who created it. It's all about accountability. All the characters in this, even though they seem to be getting away with things like dealing crystal meth, ultimately pay a very, very severe price. It's a very moral accountability show and a heck of an entertainment vehicle. Check out Breaking Bad. Hey, thanks for joining us. More tonight on Dom Time.